I mean, I will admit, you can see the Russian singer does open her mouth a little. She's almost bracing.
Kia ora, my name's Zoe Stebe, your vocal coach for today, and I help singers go from feeling frustrated and overwhelmed about their voices to singing clearly, confidently, and without flaws. In today's video, I'm going to be doing a bit of an analysis and a reaction to Into the Unknown, sung by Idina Menzel at the Academy Awards. I absolutely love this performance because Idina is such an amazing singer and she's an incredible belter as well. I've been talking a lot with my students about belt technique over the last couple of weeks, and I think this is a perfect video to show jaw position, tongue position, to also show the way that they anchor into the notes. Just to note, I am not Idina Menzel's vocal coach, and obviously I am not sure what's going through her mind technically or what she is trying to achieve for the performance. This is purely my own interpretation and my own opinion about her performance. So let's get to it.
I just want to stop it there because I absolutely love Aurora, and I think she did a fabulous job on the Frozen 2 soundtrack. I don't know what state her voice is in right at this point. It sounds quite breathy to me, which is quite different to the recording, although that could be because in the recording they've used a lot of compression, which tends to take out that sound of falsetto and makes it quite straight as well. But it sounds like she's quite tired. I don't know, maybe ask her.
Hear you, but I won't. Some look for trouble while others don't. There's 1,000 reasons I should go about my day and ignore your whispers, which I wish would go away. Oh.
I'm sorry to stop it there. I just love this introduction, but I think that I love how Idina is trying to get a feel for the music, and she's almost conducting the orchestra herself with her hands. Something must be up with her earpiece at this point. It makes me think that either she can't hear it or she's trying to tell them to turn it up a little bit. But I cannot imagine how tricky this must be to perform at the Academy Awards. I can only imagine she must be a nervous wreck. Let's watch.
Oh, you're not a voice, you're just a ringing in my ear. And if I heard you, which I don't, I'm spoken for, I fear. Everyone I've ever loved is here within these walls. I'm sorry, secret siren, but I'm blocking out your calls. I've had my adventure, I don't need something new.
That's another thing that tells me that maybe her earpiece is a little bit quiet for her, because you can really hear that she's trying to get in the beat. At the beginning, she was a little bit in front of the orchestra, and now you can get this feeling of, I've had my adventure. She's really trying to take that breath to signal to the conductor, okay, this is where we are. But she's just fantastic, isn't she? I love that she's not singing it exactly like the recording.
Afraid of what I'm risking if I follow you into the unknown. Into the unknown. Into the
Now that first into the unknown, she was a teeny bit flat, but I did notice just for a split second there, she opened her mouth quite wide. When you open your mouth that wide, you can push the tongue down, and depressing the tongue can cause it to depress the larynx as well, and thus kind of like making the tone a little bit flat, actually. And you notice that she pulled the microphone away there for the last into the unknown. And I kind of got the feeling that she was maybe a little bit unsure about that last note. You heard a tiny scratch. But again, this is such a high pressure situation, singing at the Academy Awards. So you can only imagine what she's feeling right in this moment.
どうして呼び続けてるの? Może chcesz zbić mnie z tropu, żebym gdzieś zrobiła błąd. Była ni taka
I absolutely love this section of the song because you hear how fabulous these singers are and how even through the different languages, you can still see that technique is pretty much the same. You're going to notice they're not over opening their mouths too much. They've got really straight tone, which again is kind of a Disney thing, especially for Into the Unknown. Oh, I just really, really love this part.
Meine Kraft wird immer stärker und ich fühl tief in mir drin. Vet jag kan och hjärtat säger ja, några. Snart söker
That was a perfect example. I do not speak Norwegian, but often with these back vowels, she sung an ah in that moment. And sometimes some singers have a tendency to go ah and over open. You really notice that she went da da da, and she kept her mouth sort of, I wouldn't say half closed, but no more than sort of a finger width apart. Let's just go back on that part because I really liked that bit. Take a note of where the Norwegian singer's jaw position is. Can you see that? Because even in that position there, she is not over opening her mouth, which is so important, especially if you're going to go into a belt section, or if you are belting, you don't want to over open that mouth and push the larynx down. That's a really perfect example of when someone is not belting. So this singer, Carmen Sarai, I'm so sorry if I said that incorrectly. I do not speak Spanish, but she is not belting on that last note. So she's flipping into her thin vocal folds, and she's also opening a little bit and lifting her head slightly. I would say if she put her chin back down and approached it in a thicker fold, then she'd belt it. But I have listened to a couple of other videos of her, and she's not a belter when it comes to that higher part of the range. Let's just go back on that so you can see it. That might be a point, but with the Danish singer, you can see that she really opens, but then she's got such a high tongue. Have a look at it quickly. That's a perfect, look at that belt. And that's a high belt going up to that. And that high tongue position, the way that she braces almost with the back of her shoulders, you can clearly see she's flipped into a full-on belt. I love it. And then This shows you from Adina. She's an amazing belter, by the way. This is not saying that she is not a belter, but can you hear how squeezed that note is? Because she's almost keeping the mouth a little bit too closed. If she was just open it up just a little bit and let that tongue come forward and make it, rather than an E to an just a little bit, actually not even modifying the vowel, just opening the jaw a little bit, that wouldn't sound so squeezed. Let's just look back on that again though. Can you see that? And it's also gone a little bit sharp. Yeah. And then there you go, she's singing the same note. It opens up and all of a sudden the sound is really, really clear. Sorry, but I get so excited. I love this play. There's a perfect example of how in all these different languages, I mean, I know the singing on an R, but how in all of their different languages, look at their jaw positions. I mean, they are all fairly similar. Yeah, they're not over opening, which is a kind of pet peeve of mine, I must admit. I hear a lot about singers being told to open their mouths the louder they sing, which is quite incorrect. I mean, I will admit, you can see the Russian singer does open her mouth a little bit, so you could say, hey, Zoe, but, she might be an exception. She might just be able to open her mouth really wide and get those notes out. Before, it sounded like she was kind of reaching the top of her range when she sang her solo line. This isn't like a fast and steady rule for absolutely everyone. Some singers over open their mouths and they can still sing it really, really well. But on the whole, when you are learning how to belt, you don't necessarily want to rip the jaw wide open. Let's keep going. And there you go again. You can just see that, oh my goodness me, this is, maybe I've said this a couple too many times. It's a very stressful situation to sing in this. And you're also standing in front of 9 other fabulous professional performers. Well, they're all at the same level, right? And Adina Menzel just got a little bit ahead of the orchestra there and was trying to get a feel for the music again with her arms, but she did it beautifully and she came together ready for this last note. I love it. Okay, we don't need to see the reactions of well, maybe we do. Okay, I absolutely love this. I just thought at the very end there, it's such a perfect example of how important blending is in singing and how it's important to match your tone. In this situation though, they might not all be hearing one another because it's really hard when you're on stage like that. The orchestra is coming through your earpieces, and you might not be hearing the mix of all of those other singers as well. So we don't know what they're listening to in their ears. But it's a really perfect example. I'll just go back a bit of how important blending is and how you can just hear on that very last note, it wasn't done very well. But anyway, I still absolutely love this performance because I've had a lot of questions lately about, oh, well, if so-and-so can sing, like with that Russian singer, if that person can sing with their mouth really wide, why do you keep telling me, Zoe, to not open my mouth so wide when we're belting? As I mentioned, these things are exceptions and not the rule. So it's really important that when you are learning to sing, that you think about, okay, these are like the perfect technical ideals for creating belt. But of course you can change that with your technique. What often happens with singers that come to lessons is they over open their mouths and try and push their belt really far up in the range. You could pretty much watch that again and just see all of those singers really, they were nice and stable in their torsos. They had a slightly raised chin, and you could really see the work that was going in. Actually, there's a really fantastic point. Let me just go back to it. when you can see Adina really working in the neck area.
Into the unknown, into the unknown.
And there you can see as well, just to add in, that Aurora really warms into those notes because that's no longer so, I mean, that's a talent to sing falsetto up that high, I must admit. And you can almost see she's almost bracing, going up for that belt. That's to really help stabilize the larynx. And you can see in the front of her neck there that she's working quite hard. And although her mouth is, relatively wide, her tongue's super high, like I said before. Thank you so much for watching me. I love these types of videos and I want to bring out more. So comment down below if you've got any suggestions of what sort of videos you would like to have me analyze and what you'd like to have me look at. But other than that, I wish you a really lovely rest of your day. Ka kite anō.